Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, the Bob father himself, Bob Arum, as you can see on the screen, it says that Bob Arum is in fact confident that Terrence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao can happen very soon. And this is a fight. We're in 2020 now. I have legit been on YouTube talking about this matchup for half a freaking decade. Because I remember, I was doing videos about Crawford versus Pacquiao in 2016. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I even interviewed Pacquiao's advisor, a former advisor at the time, Michael Kantz, about the potential of fighting Terrence Crawford. And I'll leave it up there for you guys, or in the cards, so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is a matchup that I've been wanting to see for a while. I think Terrence Crawford is one of the handful of fighters fighting right now in this era that I think when it's all said and done is going to go down as one of the all-time greats in boxing. A lot of people may not like that. They might say, well, who has he fought? What has he done? Listen, he can't control who he fights. He can only control but so much. If the other people don't want to step up and fight him, if the other fighters across the street, as they would say, don't want to hike their damn skirts up and fight the guy, then it's not his fault, okay? If the other champions across the street don't want to fight him, it's not his fault. But anyway, getting into what Bob Arum had to say about this potential matchup happening with Crawford and Pacquiao, here's what he said. He said, I quote, "If we hadn't had this global pandemic, and if we continue doing fights in March and to this day, we'd be talking about Crawford Spence fight towards the end of this year. So I'm optimistic that it'll happen next year once the situation clears up and once we're operating again as usual. Pacquiao and his people have reached out to me on the possibility of a Crawford fight, and we're hoping to schedule that fight outside of the United States. We'll have to see, but it's certainly an interesting fight. And once this clears up, I think we have a way where it can happen." Arum then went on by talking about how Terrence Crawford reminds him of a great fighter. And for those of you who don't know who this is, he said Terrence Crawford reminds him of a great fighter from yesteryear, one of the best, from his era. Donald Curry he said Terrence Crawford reminds him of Donald Curry, stating, I quote, "The fighter he reminds me the most of is Donald Curry. Crawford was such a great welterweight, a good puncher with a lot of skills. A lot of people thought Curry during his day was going to eclipse the great Sugar Ray Leonard. Whenever I see Crawford fight, I always think back to Donald Curry. It's very hard to compare the welterweight fighters from today from the ones in the past because the ones today have the benefit of better nutrition, better training, more advanced training than the welterweights than Ray and Curry's era." And that's what it was. As many of us know, people who can go back that far in history, many of us know that Donald Curry got, he was beating everybody, whooping up on everybody, was pound for pound arguably the best fighter at a particular time in boxing history. And eventually he goes upset and dethroned by Lloyd Honeygun, and his career was never the same after that. Now, I don't want to get too much into the comparisons. I think Terrence Crawford, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I think he's a more skilled fighter than Donald Curry. Donald Curry is a better puncher. I think Crawford is a more skilled and versatile fighter, but that's just my opinion. But getting back to what he said about just this whole Pacquiao fight, I find that interesting because one thing he's doing in this quote when he says that they're looking to stage that fight outside of the United States is, I think they're clearly acknowledging that Manny Pacquiao is the A side, because no matter how you cut it, slice it, and dice it, Pacquiao is the A side against any welterweight, whether it's Spence, Crawford, Thurman again, whoever, Danny Garcia. He is the A side. He's a global icon, a future Hall of Famer, and his name transcends the sport of boxing. So I like that he's acknowledging that Manny Pacquiao will be the A side, because that would make negotiations a lot easier. And listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't think Errol Spence is going to ever fight Terrence Crawford. I just don't think he wants that smoke. And until proven otherwise, I have my reasons to feel the way I felt. I mean, this is a guy in Spence who, when Crawford came into the division in January of 2018, 2019, when he entered the division, he stated that if Terrence gets a belt, he'll fight him and all that all that kind of stuff. Then Terrence gets a belt, and he says pretty much that he's going to go the easy route, and he's made all these excuses not to fight him, and everything's been about money. But Crawford has been consistent the whole time. Errol said get a belt, he got a belt. Errol changed his tune. Earl was the one who said he needs to come to the side of the street. Earl was the one that said, I need more of the money. It wasn't Terrence. It was Earl. So I just don't think that fight's... I'm not very hopeful about that fight happening, even though I do want to see it. But I have faith that this fight between a Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao can happen, because as his track record has shown in the past, Manny Pacquiao will fight any man, anybody, any place, anytime. And I think it's a great time for this fight to happen in the careers of both of them, as opposed to 2016, where I think maybe you could say Terrence Crawford wasn't experienced enough to deal with a guy like Pacquiao, and that's actually at the time why Bob Arum's matchmakers, the best matchmakers in the whole sport, if you don't know, they said they weren't comfortable putting in Terrence Crawford with Manny Pacquiao back in 2016. But Terrence Crawford has since then gotten a lot more experience, picked up more titles, become undisputed, become a lot more seasons as a fighter. And I think right now he's reached that point in his career where you could say his mental abilities and his physical abilities are meeting at its highest point. And when that happens, that's when a fighter is in his prime. And I feel like Terrence Crawford's got a year or two more of his prime left. Obviously, Manny Pacquiao is no longer in his prime, but he's still a damn good welterweight. He's still, arguably the number one welterweight in the world, depending on who you talk to. So it's a good fight. It's a hell of a fight. And I think style-wise, it's a great fight because of the versatility of Terrence Crawford. How does Manny Pacquiao deal with the versatility, the length, and the boxing skills of Terrence Crawford, and the killer instinct of Terrence Crawford? A lot of people want to talk about the switch hitting abilities of Terrence Crawford, but I don't think his killer instinct gets talked about enough. So you have that. But then how does Terrence Crawford deal with the vulnerability he seemed to show throughout his career, when he's been clipped by the likes of Gamboa and gotten hurt, when he's been clipped by Kavaluskas and many people thought he got dropped in that fight? How does he deal with the angles and the punching power of Manny Pacquiao, which even at his advanced age gets the respect of anybody you put in the ring with? So it's a great fight. I think it's one of the best fights in the welterweight division, and it's a more realistic fight that can happen. More so than Errol Spence, because PBC has their own agendas and they have their own routes and rules they're going to go. And there's just no two ways about it. But let me know what you guys think. Bob Arum said he's confident this fight can happen. What do you guys think? Does Terrence Crawford defeat Manny Pacquiao at this point in his career, at this juncture? Or is Manny Pacquiao still that guy? Is he just, a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly and we're never going to see anything like him again? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love this fight for Terrence Crawford, because this is a fight that he needs for his career, and as is the Errol Spence fight, because as great as his accomplishments are, when we talk about Terrence Crawford, we're talking about 135 lightweight champion, undisputed junior welterweight champion, WBO welterweight champion, 3-division champion, lineal champion, undisputed champion, one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world, unquestionably top 3 pound for pound fighter, no doubt about it. But even with all his accomplishments, his resume still lacks that. It still lacks that signature win, that signature fight, that signature big fight that would announce Terrence Crawford to the world as one of the best fighters in the world. And a Manny Pacquiao fight is big time. Manny Pacquiao fight would be just what the doctor ordered for Terrence Crawford. And I'll tell you this, man, if Manny Pacquiao could beat Terrence Crawford at this stage of his career, F it. He's one of the top 5 best pound-for-pound fighters who ever lived. I don't care if I'm not a boxing historian. This guy's 41 years old. He's not even a full-time boxer, and he can still beat Terrence Crawford. We've never seen anything like that in boxing before. So I would really put him up there if he could get that win against Terrence Crawford. I mean, I already have him pretty high up there to begin with, but a win against Terrence Crawford just bumps him up some more spots. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe, because when you support True School Sports, you're supporting the real. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just Kid from Daniels. Until next time, take care, guys.